what version of him we see will be interesting, because against Ankalaev, he seemed a little trigger shy.
Yes.
So, which was weird, which was very weird.
Welcome to First Strike, only on VSiN, the sports betting network. Here's your hosts, Dave Ross and Rob Moreno.
And welcome to First Strike here on VSiN. Dave Ross and Rob Moreno here with you on this Monday morning. And Rob, before we look back at what we saw at Perth and what we're going to see this weekend coming up here with Ankalaev and Perth Part 2, we have a big announcement that we want to. Do we want to make the announcement right off the top? Just get it right out of the way?
All right, go ahead.
All right, we're going to be moving First Strike from our normal Monday, Friday to Wednesdays. And the reason why, Rob, we're going to move this to Wednesday, we've heard you, the people, and we listen to the people that watch our program. We appreciate everybody that does. And I think, Rob, really what it is they want more time to look at whether it's Dan Vreeland, who we had on the program last week, Jordan Sherwood the week before, your Modelo predictions when the model does the predictive modeling for these fights. I think they want more time to digest those instead of giving those picks out on a Friday.
Absolutely. That's exactly what the people want, and we're a pot for the people.
That's right.
Yeah, I totally understand too, because when I'm looking at lines on Monday, if there's numbers I like on a Monday, on a Tuesday, probably by Wednesday, I've already decided where I'm going. Very rarely am I personally waiting till Friday. I know certain people want to wait for the weigh-ins and things like that and see what kind of comes about from those moments. But most of the time, you've already got your decision made. You just need to make sure that's locked in. And honestly, Wednesday, it's a great day for us to just gather all information. Most props are out. Most lines are kind of landing where they're going to land anyways. So it's a great time for us to get the people the information so that by Friday morning, they are ready to go.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And again, normally, as you mentioned, Wednesday is that key day that, especially for a deep card like a pay-per-view like UFC 320 coming up here, that you're going to get those round totals that are populated. So we'll get a lot of those looks here on a Wednesday. And, of course, get you certainly expert information from our guests that we're going to have every week in the program, not just you and me. So we'll be with you starting on Wednesday for First Strike going forward. UFC Perth that we just saw. And, again, I was a little bit disappointed in Dominic Reyes in the main event. Not so much that he lost and he got knocked out by Carlos Ulberg. And we kind of alluded to the fact that we thought the under could be in play here. Certainly you can cash those tickets as well. But that Dom never was on the front foot. And he looked passive from the jump, and that surprised me for a guy that felt like he had kind of got his groove back and was going to push forward. I didn't see any of that from Dominic Reyes.
No, it was the Dominic Reyes we saw during that losing skid. It was, you said it perfectly. He just never, not that there was a lot of time to get going, but you can't wait against another contender like Carlos Ulberg. He kind of just looked out of place and not really ready to pull the trigger on anything, and got caught very quickly. And, hats off to Carlos Ulberg, because that was exactly the type of win he needed in order to get in line for a potential title shot. But let me tell you, the line is interesting, especially considering who's fighting at UFC 320, right? You got another couple of light heavyweights who are probably hungry for another title shot.
Oh, yeah, and this division is just crazy. And Ulberg is a perfect 1-2 and then finished Dom on the ground there with one more shot just for good measure. But it was exactly what you said, Rob. It was that showcase, main event against a guy that was respected, certainly still is respected, but maybe better days are behind you. And I hate to say that for Dom because I thought he was back. Did not look the part. We did cash those big tickets, though, on the only fighter in the card that was from either Australia or New Zealand that did not win was the guy that went up against Neil Magny. And we talked about it all week, Rob, and there is Neil Magny at the end figuring out a way to get it done.
It was I was very happy to see that happen. Get that for me plus 350, but we talked about it on Friday. He was still at 3-1. We talked about that number was just always out of whack. Going 2 weeks back, but the number just never came back down, and it was more an opportunity at an underdog there. It's just a price, a guy who's always in the fight. Now I understand there was drama in the first round on whether or not he was actually already submitted himself. But hey, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some that way. And he still pulls the win out for us.
Yeah, if you had the Jake Matthews side, which we were on the other side with Neil Magny, I did think that was bad refereeing. I don't want to say that is, that was on Jake Matthews. He did what he was supposed to do. And he gets told to let go of the hold. And so because the fight is over, so he lets go of the hold. Well, there were still a couple seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
And so I heard some people saying he should have let that go to the buzzer. And if he's out, he's out. And the fight's over. It was bad refereeing. And that cost Jake Matthews and gave a second life to Neil Magny. He took full advantage of it. I do wonder if that fight, it's not going to matter for dollars and cents now. If it gets overturned to a no contest at some point for the Matthews side, I could see that, because when you're told the fight's over, you stop fighting. And that's exactly what he did. And also the over did end up hitting as well, with something else we gave out. It was sweaty, but it got there with a Neil Magny stoppage. What is we also cashed it on Colby Thickness early in the night to begin the card. So pretty proud.
Shout out Dan Vreeland for really selling us on the Thickness, because that was great.
Yeah, great call on Colby Thickness there. So, again, pays to watch First Strike here each and every week. We don't want to give away the store, because we're going to come back on Wednesday for the big breakdown. And what a deep fight card this is for UFC 320. But, of course, the headliner is Magomed Ankalaev against Alex Pereira, Part 2. And it is interesting now to see where the numbers are here on a Monday. Pereira over $2 betting underdog, Rob.
Yeah, it's already gotten there. I mean, even when I first started typing up our rundown last night, Ankalaev was minus 240, Alex Pereira 2-1. This morning, what are we seeing him at? Minus 258 already for Ankalaev. So I'm very interested to see where this line moves. I've already run the model. I know where I'm looking, but I am curious very much as to where these odds go, because it could be a situation where, I mean, a guy like Alex Pereira he's never out of it either, right? He's one punch away. What version of him we see will be interesting, because against Ankalaev, he seemed a little trigger shy.
Yes.
So, which was very weird. So it's always interesting to see that rematch when you see a guy not really the way he usually fights, and see if he actually comes back to his normal.
And I'm surprised to see the total at 4.5. I'll just say that, because I do expect to see a different Alex Pereira. So we'll get to that on Wednesday for official picks, but I think you know where I'm going there. Very quickly, you know this. You know me well enough by now, Rob. One of my favorite fighters in the UFC, speaking of this division and just killers everywhere, it's Yuri Prochazka, the return of Yuri against Khalil Roundtree, another guy who fought a great fight against Alex Pereira in defeat. That fight to me is very intriguing, because as much as I love Yuri, I never know if I want to lay close to $2 at $1.75 against a guy with a great left hook in Khalil Roundtree.
100%. And Yuri is actually a very interesting guy in my model. It just doesn't like his style, if I'm being honest, right? He eats a lot of shots. He gets beat up a lot and still wins. He doesn't have a very high XR percentage. Like, everything always tells me to bet against him.
Yep.
And he's always the guy winning a fight normally, right? There's a couple losses in there, but
Alex Pereira. You just stopped fighting Alex Pereira. That has not worked out well.
Yeah. And especially against a guy like Khalil Roundtree, who, as you mentioned, he's got some hands. And he fought a very interesting fight in his last out with I just blanked on who he fought.
And he looked technical.
Yes.
We saw a technical fight from Khalil Roundtree.
And slower, and so I'm interested to see what version of Roundtree, if that's the new version of Roundtree that may get himself to a title shot coming up.
Yeah, and I did not expect to see that patient fight from Khalil Roundtree the last time out. Normally it's kill or be killed. Oh, by the way, I just skipped over this.
Jamal Hill's who he fought. I couldn't think of his name.
And I really liked Jamal Hill in that fight, thinking this would be Khalil who's got bad defense. No, he looked very technically sound. We've seen that before with fighters. I can go back to like Justin Gaethje, a guy you never think of a technical fight. Then you go back to his back in the Abu Dhabi days against Tony Ferguson, and he fights a technical fight. There are fighters that really surprise you with their styles that you don't expect to see. I don't know that I expect to see that here against Yuri Prochazka, but that is what we saw last time.
Because Yuri's going to come in crazy.
He's
so I don't know if you can be patient. Yeah.
Yes. He's going to force you into a firefight, I would believe. Yep. We got another title fight here very quickly. Corey Sandhagen back getting a title shot here against Merab. And when you have the machine and Dvalishvili in there, almost a $4 betting favorite, that feels disrespectful to the Sandhagen side. But I can understand why, because the cardio and the wrestling, the grappling is just unmatched.
There's a reason he's called the machine. And kind of going the opposite of what my model does with Yuri Prochazka, the model loves a guy like Merab Dvalishvili. He doesn't take a lot of damage. I mean, I think he absorbs less than 3 significant strikes per minute.
Doesn't get touched.
A takedown machine, obviously, 97 takedowns currently in the UFC, which I totally forgot. But I mean, he has 97 takedowns. He could be the first UFC fighter in history to hit 100 takedowns this Saturday. It's not a market I usually look at, but I do kind of want to see what his total takedowns are for this fight, because I mean he averages about 3 takedowns a round. Wow. So it'll be interesting to see. And Corey does have some takedown defense, but at like 63% takedown defense, even that's not enough for Merab Dvalishvili. So I'm very curious. As you mentioned, the line is wide. It does feel disrespectful, but the guy continues to prove us wrong. And I just saw a clip of an interview this morning. Merab says he's going to be 90% striking against Corey. We'll see how true that could be. But, you know, as you mentioned, sometimes guys change up styles. That may work, that may not work. But that's just what I saw this morning.
Every time I think Corey Sandhagen's ready to take that ascent and be the title, title, I just have visions of Aljamain Sterling catching him. And, of course, Aljo and Merab train together. They're boys. And I just wonder, Merab, you're not going to throw hands. If you saw Aljo finish Sandhagen that way, you would think Merab might want to employ the same style. It's a great fight card. Can't wait for it. It's going to be obviously back there in Vegas next Saturday night. So, Rob, let's do this again on Wednesday. Do we want to give a hint to who the special guest is this week, or we want to surprise the people like we did with Dan Vreeland last week?
It's a surprise every week, Dave. Come on.
Yeah, right. I know. I'm terrible at Christmas Day.
But we're going to go big. We're going to go big because it is our first pay-per-view in the resurrection of First Strike. We'll try to find some good stuff for the people.
I love it. All right, so Rob will be ready to do that on Wednesday. We'll get El Modelo's picks as well, and I'll give you some of my plays that I'll have in pocket. So we'll do that on Wednesday, everybody. So for Rob Moreno, I'm Dave Ross. We'll see you Wednesday, First Strike, right here on VSiN.